Hey guys, Jess with Peekaboo Wreath. So today we are going to be starting on our orange and blue and burlap football wreath. So if you guys were on here last time, you saw that we, when we started on that last summer wreath, I guess it wasn't last time, it was a few videos ago. We started on that summer wreath that was gorgeous, and it was like, remember it was like a flip-flop wreath. It had burnt oranges and teal and pink and all those goodies. And we also cut the mesh for that orange and blue football wreath, having in mind that I wanted to do that. So today is the day we're gonna start working on that. Right now I'm just cutting about 1 inch off of these pipe cleaners with my wire cutters. I've learned from making wreaths that I don't use the full pipe cleaner, and instead of having to go around the wreath and cut all of the extra parts off, I just cut it off from the beginning. So here we go. We have a 14-inch wreath frame. I buy these at Dollar Tree, but you can buy them at lots of different places or online. I'm going to be doing how I normally wire these wreaths, where I take the pipe cleaner, put it between the two rungs here, twist it tightly one time, and then fold it up kind of like a V. And then I go the outer two rings, do the same type of thing. Pull it as tightly as I can and twist it once around. We don't need to do it more than that. As long as it's tight, it's not gonna move or go anywhere. The trick is you wanna make it tight enough where it's not gonna move, because you don't want like your ribbon and your mesh moving around your wreath, but you don't wanna make it so tight that you break the welding in the rings, because that can happen, I tell you from experience. So we're getting ready to do this wreath. I've told you guys a couple times, possibly, that I always run out of time in the season. I know that it's barely summertime, but in wreathing, people are already moving on to fall and even Christmas. So I know it's a little bit crazy. I always apologize when I post things like that on my Facebook about, like, you know, look at this football wreath, because people are like, come on, let me enjoy the summer, don't rush the season. And I definitely am not rushing the season. We're from Michigan. We are just enjoying summer, you know, for the last couple weeks. But at the same time, I do want to provide my customers what they're looking for. And I have noticed on my Etsy shop that people are already starting to look at football wreaths. So if people are thinking about it, I'm going to get that for them and get their doors ready. So something that's kind of interesting, we do, as I said before, I do live in Michigan, but I learned a few years ago that, well, I guess I always knew this. A lot of people from down south are very serious about their sports and about football especially. And there is a college down south. I don't really remember if I got like a request for this color scheme or if I just made one and it just happened to sell really well. But I would say for the last 3 or 4 years, I have been making football wreaths. I make them for the Lions colors anyways. I also make the ones that are blue and yellow for Michigan. I've made Michigan State ones as well, not with the actual emblem on it because of copyright, but anyways, Auburn. They're orange and navy blue, and people that love that college football team, they love buying their wreaths from me. So there's no rhyme or reason. It is what it is. I'm thankful that I can provide that for them. But orange and navy blue wreaths, football wreaths, are big sellers for me every single year. So I have one in my shop right now. I want to get a few more ready, because when people are ready to buy, they aren't going to wait around for me to make another wreath. So here we go. So we are I had planned on just using orange and navy blue, like doing two blues and one orange, but I kind of thought that might be too dark, because it is, you know, it is fall, but it's still a little summery when football season starts. So I am going to mix in a burlap piece in here too, burlap mesh. So it's going to be orange, navy blue, and then a piece of the natural burlap that we did cut in our last video, that I was going to use on that 18-inch frame. I probably will cut more to do that, but I'm just using what I have prepared right now. So these burlap pieces, they are only 20 inches because that's what I already had cut, and I didn't want to cut more. So that's what we're doing. The navy blue and orange pieces are 10-inch mesh that are cut to 30 inches. So that's why when I'm doing these navy blue ones and these orange ones, I am curling like once or twice, and then I am just gathering up straight up the middle, trying to keep it even on both sides. You want it to look like a little butterfly or a bow tie, and you also want to try to control the fray. So you're going to have that cut side down. So you're just going to gather like this. You don't have to open your pipe cleaner at all. I did choose to use brown pipe cleaners because I am going to have a lot of football elements in there. And as we get closer to adding the ribbon and the bow, I'll be able to show you the different football things that I do include in those wreaths. It's really fun. I go on Amazon actually. I get these brown foam footballs that are meant for, I don't know if they're like children's toys or like stress balls. But I take like an an eyelet hook. Yes, there we go. And I super glue them into there so I can add them to my wreath. Because foam doesn't really stick well to anything, and I don't want to risk those footballs falling off of the wreath. So I put the eyelet in there, and then I tie them into my wreath, and then I also glue them once they're in there, just to make sure nothing's going to happen. But I will show you that as we get to that step later on in the wreath making process. These wreaths are very detailed. They do have a lot into them. Today we're just going to do the mesh layer, and then I started to pull all my navy blue and orange ribbon choices so I can start thinking about what we're going to add for the ribbon tails and then what we're going to add in the bow. I was actually kind of running low on my football ribbons. I made a couple of Honolulu blue and gray ones that I have in my Etsy shop right now, and I did use a lot of that football ribbon for those, so I may have to stock up on a little bit more, I was thinking. But I do have a really pretty one that I think I'm going to use on this wreath, and it has these leaves, all different shades of burnt orange, and I think that would be perfect for this color scheme here too. So I think I'm going to use those when it comes to adding the ribbon tails in and possibly incorporating it in the bow too. So, are you guys big football fans? What team do you cheer for? What colors do you guys support? So here we go. Just like we did before, we just ruffle it up the middle with the frayed or the cut edge side down. You don't have to open up that pipe cleaner. Just twist it on in. We're gonna grab a burlap piece. Just keep doing this all the way around. So on these burlap pieces, because they are 20 inches, I'm just folding that edge under. I'm not rolling it as much as I am with the blue and the orange because I don't have the length to be able to do that. I still want it to be look like it's the same size or same length as the other ones. There we go. This one, you can tell this was like the last piece on the roll. That's why it's so tightly wound. So normally I save those for the top because sometimes they're a little bit shorter than the other pieces that I cut, depending on how long the 10-yard roll of mesh is. And if it is a little bit shorter, we can hide it a smidge to place it underneath the bow that we normally put on, which we don't place until we get to the top layer. So, and these football wreaths that I make, I do not include signs on them. You probably heard me talk about this a couple times before, but there is a huge issue with licensing that pretty much anybody that creates things could run into if you use and people have asked so many times. I mean, it's okay if I create a wreath and they add their own sign, or they're like, if they add their own like sign that has a Michigan, you know, an M for Michigan on it, which is a licensed image. If they want to add that, they can. But if I make a wreath with the team's logo on it, I mean, I know that not many people see my wreaths compared to like huge sellers, I guess. But technically I could get in trouble for doing that from a legal perspective, because I don't own that emblem. I don't own that licensed image. The University of Michigan does. And I could get in trouble for using it on a wreath because it's saying that like I created it. I don't know, it's kind of silly, but people have actually gotten in trouble for doing that. And I'm not really looking to get in trouble like that. So we get around it by creating, like for my one that's supposed to be like Detroit Lions, I have it in the gray or the silver and the Honolulu blue. I got like a little Nomi on there on the sign, and he has a football outfit on, and you can tell that it's, you know, Detroit colors. So I do that. But all right, so we're on the inside, the top layer now, and we're just putting it in the same way that we did it before. All right, so we just put that navy piece in. Our next one is burlap, so let's grab that. We are almost done with putting the mesh in for this wreath. As I said before, our next step is going to be cutting the ribbon tails. We do have 18 pipe cleaners, so we will need I put 2 pieces in each spot, so that will mean 36 pieces of ribbon when we do that. So when I put them in, when I put the pieces of mesh in, I try to not have them overlap each other, because it kind of makes it look flatter, and I want my wreaths to look super full. So I kind of, when I put it in, I kind of like butt it up against the piece before. So we're just taking this, that was like a V. I'm just grabbing one side of the pipe cleaner and giving it a good twist. You can twist it more if you want, but if you do that, you might want to leave the pipe cleaners long and not cut them like I did. Okay, the next piece is navy. So we're gonna just roll it a couple times, scrunch up the middle. I leave my thumbs stationary, move my fingers, try to stay as centered as possible. And then grab my wreath and put it back in. There's no set reason for like how many colors of mesh you want to use, or the pattern. It just depends the look that you're going for. And I just think it would be too dark if I used all that navy in there. I mean, I could have done that and then just focused on using lighter colored ribbons, which I will. I'm going to use that one football one with the orange leaves, and that does have a burlap background, which will help match the burlap mesh that I placed in here. But it all just depends on the look that you like. I was thinking about, I have definitely some choices to make. I have some raffia that's in this natural tone that I could incorporate when I put the ribbon bundles in. I also have, let's find that last piece of orange. I also have some really pretty orange and blue tubing that I can include. So again, this is that last piece on the roll, so it's more, I don't know, tightly rolled, I guess, because it's on the inside part. Okay, so we're putting in our last one. Since I know that this is a piece that might be slightly shorter, I am going to just twist my pipe cleaner a bunch and just fold it under now. because I know that that's gonna be underneath my bow, and I'm not gonna wanna add ribbon in there underneath my bow because I won't be able to see it. So there we go, it is done. And nice and full. Measures about 23 to 24 inches wide without any details on it. So it'll be a nice, beautiful big wreath. And next time I see you, we'll be doing the ribbon tails. Thanks so much, talk to you later, bye.